Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to today's show. Today, I have a guest that was actually somebody I just met, and just from our little bit of conversations that we've been having for this actual interview, she is actually an amazing woman with a wonderful, wonderful personality, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this show. Today, I have a Maxine Haber. She has a company called STARcise, which actually helps young kids, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old, those really young kids. I believe it's kind of like a fitness program that she actually does for those kids. I remember her saying something like she teaches them how to do jumping jacks and how to do other kinds of stuff like that. She's actually a certified youth fitness instructor, and she goes by the name of Coach Maxine. So we'll probably be talking to her about Coach Maxine for the rest of the show. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce Maxine Haber. And Maxine, welcome to the show, and how are you today?
I am awesome, Kevin. It's Maxine Haber, but that's okay.
Haber.
Call me Coach Maxine. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And you came as a high recommendation from a mutual friend of ours. And we had a phone conversation and talking to you on the phone and a little bit this morning. I think you're going to be a phenomenal guest to the show because you started a business kind of out of just accident, what it sounds like, and then you've developed it over the last 10 plus years. So this is absolutely phenomenal. I feel there's a lot of people out there that have a skill set that they don't really realize that they can actually turn into a business, and you actually are a perfect candidate that actually did something like that. So could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and why it is that you do it?
All right. Well, I am a certified youth fitness instructor. I created a kids fitness program called STARcise, which actually specializes in the preschool age. So my clients, yes, they are 2, 3, 4, and sometimes 5. And yeah, I didn't start it on purpose. It's certainly not where I saw myself when I was in college. I actually went to school for a mass communications degree. So I was on the broadcast journalism, radio and television track in my 20s. I ended up in a corporate job working in marketing in the telecommunications industry. That's what I was doing in the 90s. And that's sort of where I wanted to be. I was very happy. I was very good at my job. Marriage, kids, and then all of a sudden life hits you and goes, oh, wait a minute, I've got a curveball for you. And my curveball kind of came in the form of my husband originally. We were new parents. Our daughter was about 2 years old. She's 16 now, but she was about 2. And my husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And that was sort of surprising to me how well we just kind of rolled it into our regular life. It wasn't a devastating diagnosis for me only because my father-in-law, his father, also had diabetes. So I kind of expected that it was going to come, so it didn't hit me so hard when I got the diagnosis. What hit me was maybe 6 weeks later, my husband was doing his usual Sunday night routine, which, since he still has diabetes, he still does to this day. Sunday night, he goes through with all of his little pill boxes and puts all of his pills together for the week. And he was in the middle of doing this routine, and he just kind of offhandedly said to me, how is it that we're going to handle this if this was to happen to our daughter? And that was my moment of clarity. I realized, okay, this is genetic. We're talking about grandpa, daddy, and now daughter. It was super possible for this to be something for her. And I went into mommy mode and I went researching. I wanted to find out what the likelihood was, and what I actually discovered was how prevalent issues like diabetes, like high blood pressure, like, high cholesterol, like obesity were in children under the age of 5, that this wasn't as much of an issue 10, 20, 30 years ago, but it was suddenly something that has now become the forefront. And this was over a decade ago when I actually started getting into this information. And the only thing what I could look for was, how do we get ahead of this? How do we prevent this? How do we prevent the sedentary lifestyles that are primarily the reason that children are having all of these health issues at such a young age? And that was what led me to leave my corporate job, leave corporate America, go find a completely new education, become certified as a youth fitness instructor, and learn, it's not just what they eat, but it's what they do. And I was overwhelmed with how it's not just that we're too busy to let our kids go out and get physical education or have physical activity. It's so much more. There's so many more societal factors that come into play. Honestly, we live in an era where we're afraid. Here's a big, big factor in why kids at a very young age, literally between the ages of 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that is where kids, a human being's natural desire is to be fit, is to be active, to actually move. We can't ask any mom of a 3-year-old how hard it is to get her kid to stop moving. It's because 3-year-olds naturally want to move. But we don't give them, kids by and large are really not getting as much physical activity as they should out of fear, because we don't let them play in the backyard. We're scared they're going to hurt themselves. We don't take them to the park because we don't know who they're going to encounter. We don't take them to the play spaces because, it's too expensive. We don't let them play out in the front yard or in the street because they might get abducted. A lot of it is fear-based. And then there is opportunity-based. A lot of moms that have those kids that are in those age groups, they're just not, they don't want them playing in the house and bouncing around on the furniture and doing all of that. It's, can you just sit down for 5 seconds so that I can get the laundry done or whatever it is that we're working on. And so there's that. And then you translate this into how it actually exists in a preschool setting. It's even more, it's so depressing. Kevin, we're literally training children whose default setting is to play. We're training them to sit down, sit at this table, sit on the floor, just sit still. Because the mindset, and I understand this, is to train them in the way of like what it's going to be like when they're still in this tool. And they're already first grade, all of that. When they are but still, I get that. But there needs to be a balance. In all of what we do, there needs to be a balance. And I think that one of the greatest things about STARcise that I've been able to provide over the years is that balance. Yes, we want them to sit down long enough to understand. We want them to sit down long enough to pay attention, to learn, to be educated. But at the same time, there needs to be a balance where they're off and they're playing and they're getting that creative and they're getting that physical and they're getting that heart rate and they're having fun doing it. Because that's the trick. That is not the trick, but that is the goal. I don't want children to think, I have to work out. I have to get this physical activity. I have to do this. Our goal at STARcise is to teach children that fitness is fun. Because as long as they know in their mind that this is fun, then it's something that they want to do, not something that they have to do. Because, Kevin, let's be honest, if you and I have to go to the gym, see how I even just phrase that as have to? Have to. But I'm not going to lie, I haven't been inside a gym I work out with kids for a living, so I don't have to. But if I had to be in a gym, I know myself. I need a friend. I need my phone. I need headphones. I need music. I need a TV, a book, something to get me through that 30 minutes or half-hour workout or 1-hour workout because it's so monotonous. It's already been ingrained in me that this is something that I have to do. And my goal is to get to children before that have-to mindset kicks in, teach them that it's fun, and it's something that they want to do, something that their bodies want to do already. I'm just trying to give them that connection between the mind and the body. The body already wants to work out. The body already wants to be physically active when they're 3 and 4. I'm just bringing in the mind to go, that's right, this is fun. I'm actually enjoying this. This is good for me.
So Maxine, it sounds like that you've been, because of your concern with your daughter, possibly having diabetes, as soon as you're running into your husband and his family, was that the catalyst for you with what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. Actually, she was sort of the inspiration for the name of the business as well. My goal was to make sure that she didn't have to suffer with diabetes, that it wasn't going to be an issue. I learned that it was a much larger issue, and I realized that I needed to make sure that she was also not going to fall prey to the obesity and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, other issues that come with sedentary lifestyles. And it became much more of a mission than just empowering children, but this was something that needed to be heard by as many parents and adults and teachers as possible so that we could get the message out and protect as many kids as possible. So that's where STARcise came about. I actually, I took that education that I learned, certainly, got a job in my industry, and I decided that I wanted to be able to impact people more on a personal level instead of just taking someone else's program and putting, kind of my spin on it. I wanted to develop something from my heart. And that's where STARcise came from. And again, I gave my daughter credit for the name of the company. STAR stands for smart, talented, athletic, respected. And it's an acronym that I developed literally on the drive home from preschool one day with my daughter. It just naturally came from a conversation that we were having. It was October, and I remember this because the conversation was, hey, what are you going to be for Halloween? Because I said, what are you doing in school today? What did you learn today? Oh, we talked about our different Halloween costumes. I said, okay, so this is what you're going to be. And I'm a very girl power type of girl, so her answers were so disheartening to me. Kevin, everything out of her mouth was rock star, pop star, movie star. Not that there's anything wrong with those aspirations, and certainly it was just a Halloween costume. But in my mind, I felt like she was giving me these very surface or empty definitions for this word star. And she had a definition attached to this word that I didn't necessarily feel it wasn't productive. So the first thing I did was I took that word back and I said, okay, if we're going to keep using that word star, we need to give it a healthier definition, something mommy likes a little better. That's where the acronym came from. So it was sort of a very natural progression of we were having this conversation and, oh, that's the acronym I came up with for her. So what am I going to name this business? And STARcise just sort of came together very naturally as a result, because my program doesn't just teach physical fitness and doesn't just make fitness fun, but as the acronym suggests, I teach every child they can be smart, talented, athletic, and respected. So a lot of the music, a lot of programs what I've developed is a program that really focuses on individual development as opposed to that competition element, because psychologically children under the age of 6, 7 really they're not wired yet for that competition aspect. They're still developing, they're still learning themselves. So it's not necessarily productive to take 2 3-year-olds and say, you've got Johnny over here and you've got Anna over here. And Anna is doing more jumping jacks or faster jumping jacks than Johnny. It's not necessarily as productive for Johnny for me to say, hey, Johnny, why don't you do it better like Anna? It's, Johnny, you did 3 jumping jacks. Good for you. That was awesome. Let's see if you can do more. It's about individual development. And that's one of the core tenets of the program, is not to teach them, hey, let's be competitive with each other. Let's respect what each person can do. But let's focus on ourselves and see what we can do to build and develop ourselves.
And do you like to stick with that one age range? You don't want to go any older than that? Or is that just...
No. 6 is like my... 6 is like my little... Here's the thing. I'm a big 3-year-old. One of the biggest reasons I feel over the years that my business has been so successful is because it's not just monkey see, monkey do, but the monkey that they see is me. And I'm a big 3-year-old. So I think 3-year-olds get me because I'm just a much larger version of them. I can tell you this from experience. The music that I've developed for the program and the activities are really, they're specifically designed for the gross motor skills that children in those age ranges can master and can accomplish. There's no greater physical range in a human being's life on an annual basis, because kids go through their milestones before they, from birth to about 18 months, their milestones, they're hitting them literally every 3 to 4 weeks. Rolling over, you're sitting up, you're thinking with your head, you're falling. Those things happen on a near monthly basis. But once kids get to about 18 months and they're not just walking, but they're running and they're moving quicker, then we're talking about gross motor skills. And what a 2-year-old can do versus what a 3-year-old can do versus what a 4-year-old can do physically, those annual, milestones it's unbelievable what they're able to pick up and what they're able to do. Once they hit 5, they've got use for my program because they've mastered all. They've done all this stuff. They're ready for kindergarten and kickball, and then they really are. They're ready for big sports and ready for that competitive mindset. So yeah, I really do focus on that age range because I know what exactly they can handle. My program isn't just designed to cover their mindset and also their gross motor skills, but it really speaks to their attention span. The way that the program is developed, it's designed to change. Everything that we do literally changes every 2 to 3 minutes, because I know that at that age, that's where their minds are like, well, and I've developed a program to keep up with that. It's, and also it also keeps up with the way that a child works out. A child in that age range, a preschooler, is more of they work out. They're circuit trainers. Their bodies are developed to, hey, let's do this. We'll do this activity. We'll go hard, and then we're done. And we'll do this activity, and we'll go hard, and then we're done. The way that the program is designed literally goes with the natural flow of a child and how a child actually thinks and moves.
Wow, that's awesome. And now, do you ever follow with the kids or with the parents of the kids, let's say 2, 3, 5 years later, or what kind of?
Absolutely. One of the first schools, when we first started this program, one of the first preschools I was in, and I remember maybe they call it, the name of the school is Beth Moshe, but I used to call them my Monday school, because the way the program works is weekly. So I would go into that preschool and I would teach those classes every week on the same day at the same time. And I was with them, they were a client of mine for 5 years. So I had multiple situations with kids where they started out and I was there when they were 2. And then they were in my class again the next year, they were 3, and then they were 4, and then they were 5, and then they were off into kindergarten. And I've actually been blessed to see the progression of a child who's been in my program for multiple years and see them have that growth. And that is more than anything else. I love to, that's why I do what I do with so much passion, is I actually have the opportunity of seeing kids do that, see the light go on and see them go, oh, I know I can do this. Self-confidence is a huge thing that when children at that super young age, to be able to see, for them to accomplish it is one thing, but for me as the educator to actually see it, that's like cotton candy to me. Actually getting to see a child have that moment of recognition that they were capable of doing something and seeing them do it. It's not just hey, you've got the right form. No, for me, it's seeing the light go on in their head and they're realizing for themselves they can do it. And I've been so blessed to see over the years that progression with a lot of my students. And building that relationship with them and seeing them year after year and seeing the difference in their personalities and their confidence and their physical abilities. And because they know my music and they recognize the songs, and they'll come into class and go, hey, I know what we're doing today, based on how I set the room up for a particular class. And I've actually had the opportunity to see that, and it is the greatest thing ever. I actually have more interaction with my students than I do with the parents and the adults, but it does happen. And what's funny to me is that if I'm not working with a parent directly to produce their child's birthday party, most parents don't really get to see me until the end of the school year, because what I do is during the school day. So I'm just another specialist in a particular preschool. So parents don't necessarily know me as a main teacher, but they do hear about me an awful lot, because I've had, what happens quite often is at the end of the school year, the school director will put together a showcase at the end of the school year for all the parents to come in. Not unlike a graduation ceremony, a little less formal than that, but it's an opportunity for all the parents to come in and see what the kids have been learning all year, and they do like a show. And one of the things they showcase would be the specialists, and I'm obviously on board to be one of those. And when I get to go on stage or in front of the classroom, or however different preschools set it up different ways, to do a demonstration with their students in front of the parents and let them see what it is that we've been doing all year long, and get their attention to go, okay, they're not just learning great stuff intellectually, but this is what they've been learning physically. I love that. That's the greatest thing ever, because it's surprise. These parents really have no idea, aside from the few flyers and brochures that they get sent home in their daughters or sons' backpacks to say, hey, Coach Maxine STARcise is teaching your child X, Y, and Z. This is just an overview. They get that, and that's great, but for them to actually see in person what it is that I've been working on with their children all year long is awesome. Because after showcases are over, I get parents coming up to me and going, "You're Coach Maxine." I'm like, yes. No, you don't understand. my son won't miss a Wednesday because you come in on Wednesdays. It doesn't matter how he's feeling, he gets up and he can't wait to go because it's Coach Maxine Day. I'm like, thank you. It's great to actually get that connection finally with the parents in that sense, because that lets me know that there's an impact beyond just those 30 minutes in that classroom setting that I have with their student, with that group of students. I know that what I'm doing is actually lasting, and it's actually going home with them, and they're enjoying it so much that they are going home and telling their parents. And then their parents will finally come to me and say, hey, I know who you are because my kid won't shut up about you. Which, I love that. I'm not going to lie. It is a little bit of an ego boost, but honestly, outside of the ego, it lets me know that I am having an impact and that what I do does matter.
And that's very important, because I think a lot of people, especially people like yourself that are in the school environment, they are just unaware of just how appreciated they are, even if it goes unrecognized. I mean, just think about all those parents that don't go to that day, or because they have to work or something like that, or maybe they're too shy or too timid to come up and talk to you. I mean, you're going to be much more appreciated than you probably are even being realized.
Absolutely. What's great about what I do is that I've learned how to, it's exactly what you said. It's that experience of knowing that I'm in that classroom with those students in front of them in person for those little snippets of time. I did that for so many years in the beginning that it made me realize I need to be able to make this last. I need to expand my impact. So what I did, initially I started out with the classes, and then on the weekends, of course, doing the STARcise birthday parties. I needed a way to make my impact go broader than just that. So I took the music that I developed for the program, and I was literally just singing these songs a cappella in the classroom. And we would just do in the classroom, and I felt like that was enough. But what I eventually did is a couple of years into it, I found a music producer, I found a studio, and I actually recorded the songs and created an album, like a full-on, hard CD that the parents could take home and play the music anytime. And now this was professionally produced, and it's got real instruments and all of this great, a greater quality to it. And parents were then able to take the music, take it home, and then have STARcise in the home when they would just, put it on in their cars or at home. And the kids, what's great about the music is the music isn't just arbitrary songs. The lyrics, I wrote the lyrics to actually walk children through the physical steps of an exercise. I have a song called Jumping Jack. It literally teaches children how to do jumping jacks in the lyrics. It's very self-explanatory. And sometimes I will compare it to the Hokey Pokey. Because the Hokey Pokey is you put your left hand in, you put your left hand out. So you've got lyrics in STARcise songs that do the exact same thing. So I was able to expand my reach by giving parents something that they could take home and do with their children. And then that eventually expanded into the filming music videos. So as a companion piece to the music, now I had music videos so parents could put DVDs in their TVs at home, and damn, there was Coach Maxine on the television. And then there were the words on the screen, so the kids were secretly learning their sight words. I wanted to make it as comprehensive a learning experience as possible. And what I've learned with the DVDs, with the music videos, is kids don't sit in front of the television and watch me. It's so interactive. Kids stand up in front of the television and do the workout with me. It's just as if I was in front of them in a classroom. And this has enabled me to reach more children and more preschools that I think, because I'm only one person, I can only be in a place at a time, but I've now been able to expand my reach to be in more preschools, in more classrooms, in front of more children. But then I needed the ability to bring the family into it somehow. So I created a series of videos and an entire curriculum, an entire package that I called the Family Fitness Challenge, which now is an entire program that parents can purchase and take home, goes to their home. And it takes the STARcise program that, yes, is developed for children, but I put it together in a way that parents and other siblings, like an entire family, can take the Family Fitness Challenge and work out as a family. Because, like I say all the time, the family that plays together stays together. takes the monkey see, monkey do concept that I always base my business on to the next level. Because when I say monkey see, monkey do, I don't walk into a group of children and say, okay, everybody, I don't like sit in a chair and then tell everybody to stand up and then reach their arms up. No, I stand up and I show them I lead by example. I'm very, very, very hands-on. Like, if you have a room full of 4-year-olds and they're all at 100%, Coach Maxine's at 300. I have my energy level all the way up here, so it's not just so that I can keep up with them. The goal is for them to keep up with me. And being able to put it in the Family Fitness Challenge, it kind of makes it more personal. It really does bring it home, because now it's not just Coach Maxine that the kids are following, but mom and dad are now doing the exercises. My big brother and little sister are now doing it. It really becomes something for the entire family. And that's one of the greatest things about STARcise to me, is I'm still able to keep it in that age group, in that age range of 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's really, the program is really still designed for them, but I've now been able to take it and put it in the context of the entire family being together. And that kind of, especially now, we're coming up on the first of the year, and when January rolls around, adults are all making those New Year's resolutions, and top 3. It's always on somebody's top 3 is to lose those 10 extra pounds, or get fit, or get healthy, or work out more. It tends to be something that's in the mindset of most adults. But then with parents, there tends to be a disconnect. They're always thinking, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to get myself healthy. Where's the rest of that sentence in terms of us? Where is, I'm going to get my whole family healthy? And STARcise tends to be that shortcut. Parents are like, hey, I'm going to get myself healthy, but I'm going to make sure I've got these tools. I'm joining this gym, or I'm committing to running, or whatever my routine is going to be, but I'm not cutting my kids out. I'm going to make sure that my kids have STARcise, so that we're getting together and doing fit as family. I'm not just going to do it for myself, but I'm going to be an example. And as a corollary to that, I'm going to make sure that my kids have the tools to do what they need to do to be physically active and physically fit on a level for that.
This is something that you're developing over the years. It's not something you just launched in your first year. This is over the years that you saw the need. It's okay, now let me expand this, because you're doing all, like you're saying, you initially were doing everything a cappella, so you're just singing your songs. Then you decided to go and record those songs so that you can have a curriculum that they could even take home with them. Then you develop the videos. So this has been a progress over the last few years.
Oh yeah, this is definitely, it's amazing. I still, to this day, I'm so impressed with, when I look back at, where it is now versus where I first started out. I'll give you a great example. I am, for those of us who can see, I'm wearing a great shirt that has my logo embroidered on it. When I first started out 11 years ago, my first shirt was a plain yellow t-shirt that I bought for $4 from Michael's craft store. And the logo was something, it wasn't even screen printed. I literally went to Office Depot and bought those iron-on sheets. And I took my logo and printed it backwards on an iron-on sheet that I printed in my home computer. And I took it and I literally ironed it onto this big plain yellow t-shirt. I started out, with literally nothing but my education in terms of all of the branding and the logos and the website and my social media presence and all of that all came, over years of developing this program. I think so much of what the program is now, people have, that are first hearing about it now, they go, oh my goodness, the program is so amazing. And I'm so grateful for that, and I'm always appreciative, but I'm forever humbled because I know, where I started. I know where it came from. I know that, some of the ups and downs with this business in the beginning, because no one had heard of me, it was a challenge to get into preschool. So I'm always, grateful for that first preschool that took a chance on me. And over the years, my preschool classes really were, they were my testing ground. A lot of what I developed that is great now is great because I know it worked, because I actually worked on it with children in actual classrooms. And to have that leeway, have that ability to see what worked and what didn't, with those earliest classrooms, all of my, my students now, all of my programs now have the benefit of, I know that they work now because of all of the work that I put into them all those years ago.
Okay. And now, one of the things I guess I just want to get into at the moment is because we're talking about what you were doing there, and I like to kind of steer this a little bit more toward to the viewers or the listeners of the show. And that's going to be going over some of the things that you went through and the successes, challenges, feedback, setbacks, and things like that. Tell me a little bit about what, because it sounded like you started off on a very humble budget, and you just got started. You got into that first preschool. Could you tell me a little bit about your early successes and what were some of the things that you learned when you were just starting out?
Oh boy, the successes didn't really come very early on. I would say that early on my successes were categorized as little wins, meaning just getting through 30 minutes and keeping my head. There were a lot more challenges in the beginning. For example, like I said, people not hearing, not knowing what it was. A lot of what I had to overcome was people not knowing who I am and wondering, well, why should I hire you? And I've got someone who does yoga. A lot of my initial wins would come in the form of doing it for free. And I'm not recommending that this is what people do. This is not the way to build a business. Don't give everything away for free in the beginning. This is not what you do. In terms of, for example, my very first school, they had never heard of me. I mean, they knew who I was because the first school that I actually signed was the preschool that was associated with my husband's temple. So they knew who I was because we were there every week, but they didn't know what my program was. So my initial conversation was, well, let me just sit with you and meet with you and talk to you about what it is that I do. And then after that, the end of that conversation was, I would love to do a free demonstration with any one of your classes. You pick the classroom and, let's go in there and let me show you what it is that I do and let me show you what. So demonstrations are huge in my business because of what I had to overcome was, we already have someone who does yoga. We already have someone who does creative dance, which is, oftentimes just code for, we just don't really have structure. We just run around with the kids. Not saying anything about people who do interpretive dance, I'm just saying in my experience. So I really had to go in and show people what I do, and getting those early yeses. Those were big wins for me. Being able to get someone to say, you know what, I trust you enough and I believe in what you're telling me enough to let you show me what you do. And getting to go in there and do free demos. I have yet to go in and do a free demo anywhere where I didn't end up signing a contract. It works every single time. It is the cornerstone to my business in terms of teaching the classes. And getting that first yes was a big one. I still, remember very vividly sitting in that first preschool director's, office and discussing what it is that I do. And I have so much passion for what I do, probably more now than I did then. I think maybe the passion that I had then was more nerve driven because I was excited, but still unsure because I hadn't had the opportunity yet. And I remember her finally saying, okay, well, let's go see what you do. And that wasn't even the yes yet, but I took that as a yes. I said, okay, in the back of my mind, she has no idea. She's about to be blown away. And sure enough, she led me into, it was a 3-year-old's class. And these kids had never seen me in that environment before. And she gave me, a class is 30 minutes. She gave me 15 minutes. I think inside of 10 to 12, she was sold. I saw her. I saw a look at her face. I saw the children engaging with her and being excited. I saw that classroom's teacher and her assistant just forward. And in that moment, it was like, gotcha. I know. It was literally, let's go. It was as if someone took the car out of park, and I was running the car like nobody's business. I just took off like a shot in that moment, and I knew that I had something. And I was really surprised how the business built because in South Florida, where I'm originally from, when I first started this business, there's the preschool directors have, they have their own little community, meaning, the preschool director I discussed my program with initially, she talked to a preschool director friend of hers one county over and said, "You've got to, get this whole, Coach Maxine is amazing. I don't care who's doing, yoga, whatever, you got to get this girl." And so then it became, the phone started ringing. And, I got another preschool and another preschool. And my second year, not my first year. So the first year was just nose to the grindstone, working, teaching, developing, fixing, and improving. And by the end of my first year, close to somewhere in my second year, and I don't, to this day, I still don't know who did it, because by then I only had like 5 or 6 schools, and I didn't know who did it. But in my second year, I was nominated by one of the preschool directors. South Florida Parenting magazine is like the parent, like the preschooler parent Bible. For it's distributed pretty much everywhere in Tri-County. And once a year they have something called the Kids Crown Awards. And I was nominated and I won Best Kept Secret. STARcise won an award called Best Kept Secret in the Kids Crown Awards 2 years in a row. Actually, I don't know who nominated me for the first one, and it's voted on by the public. I can't influence it any one way or the other by myself. But I actually won an award for how great my program is, and then I won that award again the following year, and I started getting a lot of recognition in the community for the impact that I was having. So here come the wins. Initially it was just me by myself with a little bag, I think it was my gym bag initially. Now I've got bags with my logo on it, they're yellow and they're custom and all this great stuff. So I've got all the branding now. But back then it was, my first speaker was a 1974 PV amp that was like huge and heavy, and it was so big that it had like this empty space in the back that I would actually stick all my materials that I could, because I couldn't carry everything by myself. I'd stick it all in the back, and I'd carry this big heavy thing. And I had my little gym bag, and this is how I started. This is how I started my classes all the way back then. Now, I've got cordless microphones, and I've got bags with logos on them, and great branding, and people know who I am when they see me coming. It certainly didn't start that way. And I probably work more now than I ever have, but those early wins absolutely lent themselves to my ability to grow my business and develop more programs and getting my name out there and getting the recognition. It really just comes from not stop it. It comes from, a lot of it is, I believe in myself and I believe in my program. But I have a greater faith for it now because I've seen results, and I know my students are getting results. It's not just, mindless play. Let's wear them out so they'll shut up later. I'm actually, instilling values in them. I'm actually making sure they're learning, and they're mastering certain gross motor skills. I really am developing these concepts of respect. And not athleticism in the I'm going to teach you to be the next NFL star. I'm really just developing it's okay and it's actually fun to be physically active.
Now let me ask you this: when you went to the first school and you got your program that you were going to talk to them about, had you practiced your program with anybody else before that, or was that your first experience?
It wasn't my first experience. It's funny, when I got my, how I actually really came to make it something that I was doing on my own, I got my certification and I started out working for another company. The first time anyone ever called me Coach Maxine, I was teaching someone else's fitness program in preschools. And I'm not going to name names here, but I started out with another company and they gave me my schools. They gave me my schedule. They said, this is where you're going to be on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. And I was doing someone else's program. And I was okay with that in the beginning because I just wanted to, get my experience. I just wanted to get my feet. I just kind of wanted to understand what it was like to be in that classroom setting. So I actually got my experience as an employee for another company. And I loved the interaction with the students. But there were just certain things about their program that I didn't love. We were using somebody else's music. Like this was a company that was using the Sesame Street version of Elmo, You Can Drive My Car. They were using the Wiggles for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It wasn't a program that they had developed. They were just using the licensing. They had license to use other people's music, and they would just pick different songs and incorporate it into what they had as a program. And I remember, I loved the job. I loved the interacting with students. I loved being able to teach. I loved the scheduling. I loved what I was teaching. But there were just little things like that I couldn't get my mind around. I would come home and I'd complain to my husband, like, man, you know what? If this was my company, I would be doing this. I don't have original music. What about, I just had a handful of things that I would always complain about. And it was my husband who, he kind of put my feet to the fire. He was the one who said, well, you have two choices. You can take the paycheck and shut up. You got a paycheck and just do your job. Or if you really have that big of a problem and you think you can do it better, then do it yourself. And go out there and let's see how you do. And I took, I think maybe initially he wasn't so serious. Maybe he was just trying to, get his wife to be quiet for 5 seconds because I don't stop and do this every day. But I took his challenge seriously. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Yeah. If this was going to be something that I would do, and, how would I do it? What would I name it? What kind of music? And so I started writing the songs. And I really developed this program based, I don't want to say I developed a program based on a dare, but, but I absolutely took on the challenge because I think I was content to complain about it, but I didn't have the nerve on my own to say, hey, I'm going to do something about it. Someone else had to put my feet to the fire and say, if you think you really can do better, then show me. And I immediately went into the I'll show you mode. And that kind of, really, it took me from just being somebody else's Coach Maxine to being Coach Maxine for myself. And I was so glad that I did it. And I really am super passionate about a lot of the things that I do, that I make sure that I do it right. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, and then now if you talk about your successes, because one of the things I'm actually just not incorporating into the show is, what were some of your early fears that you had when you were first getting started, and the ones that you probably overcame, or anything like that? Did you have any fears?
Oh my gosh, so many. Oh my goodness. A lot of the times I would be afraid of the students. And that was interesting for me, because children at that age, preschoolers, have no filter. Zero. And it doesn't come from a place of judgment. It comes from a place of, I am just going to be honest with you. I see this. I like this. I don't like that. Children aren't, telling you like it is because they're intending to hurt your feelings. They're just being honest. They have no filter, and they're not trying to lie to you because they don't think you're lying to them. They're just calling it how they see it. So when I worked for a different company and I was coaching these children, I was teaching in these classroom settings, I was teaching someone else's curriculum. So there was no fear there. It was, hey, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I understand what I'm doing, and I'm going to take this curriculum and I'm going to teach it to you. And I have no feeling one way or the other about it, because the curriculum is what it is. If you don't like it, it's somebody else that wrote that. So I never had an issue or fear there. But when it was my own curriculum, I was terrified. I was like, what if this kid's doing like this? What if they be blamed? What if they say no? I really had to overcome that fear of what they were going to think or how they were going to react. I just like being there and doing it. There's nothing in feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Oh my gosh. With a group of super honest, unfiltered children where you've got to keep their attention. Because adults, it's different. You talk in front of a group of adults, and they'll look at you, but they'll kind of like stare at you, but you don't feel like they're disrespecting you because at least they're a kid. And they might look down at their phones and they're like, oh, I'm using it. A 3-year-old will just walk away from you. They don't like what you're doing. They won't even, they'll just go away. So it was that challenge of, I'm stepping out on my own. I'm doing it by myself now. I'm doing it based on what I've developed for them. And if they don't like it, I'm probably going to get my feelings hurt because this came from my heart. So that fear was that was terrifying. And what's funny is, even though I'm over these years, I'm really, really good at teaching the curriculum in a classroom setting, I still get the fear when I do birthday parties. Because birthday parties are a completely different animal. I'm still teaching my curriculum. I have a few different elements that I've added to it to make it more fun and make it more of a birthday party appropriate setting. But I'm still coming into a group of kids that like 90% of them have no idea who I am. Typically, I've met the birthday child prior to the event, so at least I've got one familiar face. But every time I do a birthday party, there's a whole group of kids I've never met before. So I still get that fear. I still get that the butterflies in my stomach as I'm driving to a venue right before I do a birthday party. But the training kicks in, and you do what you got to do, and then you get through it. And it's funny. I was actually having this conversation with a friend the other day. It still surprises me to this day how I will have those butterflies, and then I'll do what I do, and then when it's over, I'll think to myself, man, I'm still really good at this. I don't know what I was afraid of. That was awesome. I actually pulled that one off pretty great, because in retrospect, I'll be able to look back and go, hey, remember that one kid that came in and really was engaged and really enjoyed what they were doing, and really came in and were like, front and center, enjoying themselves and really getting something out of what I do. So the fear is still there sometimes. It's a matter of having learned what it takes to either overcome the fear or push through and feel the fear and do it anyway.
Okay. And this is
not being taken seriously. Okay. Okay, maybe I'm not so afraid of that.
Well, since we talk about your successes, the other thing I want to talk about the flip side of that same coin. What about some of your early or even some of your recent challenges or failures or setbacks?
Oh, I got a handful of those too. I'll give you one that's a super easy one. 99% of my business has always been me, teaching in classrooms or performing at parties or at events. And when I was in Florida, I had developed over all of those years, I developed a place in the community. People knew who I was. My business was growing. But to this day, it's still just me. I don't have assistant coaches. I don't have a staff. It's just me. And I moved out here to Las Vegas exactly 2 years. It'll be exactly 2 years ago tomorrow. And that was like starting over. That was a huge challenge. I literally had to shut down everything that I had built and grown in one place. And I moved all the way across the country. And 2 years ago when I came here, it was like starting over. It was, nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew my name. No one was going to give me a shot. I didn't exist here. So the greatest challenge I had was starting over. And I had the experience of having started from scratch when I began STARcise. So I didn't have to start completely from scratch. I have my curriculum, I have my program, I have all of what I had developed. It was just a matter of getting known here, and that was a huge challenge for me. But obviously, I was up for it. It was a lot easier to take what I had already built, and then knowing who to talk to, knowing that I could get set up in a particular municipality. For example, I actually settled here in one of the suburbs of Las Vegas called Henderson. And because of my experience with previous municipalities and smaller cities back in South Florida, it was very easy for me to walk into the city of Henderson Parks and Rec Department and file paperwork and get meetings and talk to people and get my program into the different community stores. One of the first things I did when I got to the City of Henderson Parks and Rec, I got contracted to bring my program and teach my classes at two different parks, community centers in the city of Henderson. The first one was Silver Springs Rec Center, and the second one was Black Mountain Rec Center. And being able to get my name in the Henderson happenings that would come out every season and would go into the homes of every resident for them to get to see my name and see my company name was a big boost for my business. And that kind of led me the credibility that I needed to go to various preschools. Greater Las Vegas Academy has had me out there several times. They do special events and they've had me come out. And the most recent one, I actually was given an entire room all for STARcise. And I was able to do my program for all of the kids that came for one of their big holiday employment events, where it wasn't just a classroom. It was several hours of, hundreds of families were coming in and out. And I was heavily paid. And a lot of my credibility in, developing brand awareness in my local area, I've been able to kind of fast forward it, but it's still a challenge. It's still, going and meeting. It's sort of like starting from scratch again, even though I have an advantage from having done it before. It's still that starting from scratch and talking to people and developing relationships and building brand awareness and getting out there and doing it for free, to get my name out there. But thanks to social media, a lot of that has gotten fast tracked because people will Facebook Live and people will tag and people will comment and a lot of times I find that people are doing for me what I would have done for myself because they like what I do, and word of mouth has other parents and other park directors and program directors singing my praises for me, saying, "Hey, we had Coach Maxine from STARcise, so look what she did. This is so great." So I find those challenges a little bit easier to overcome. But it's something that I think you always have challenges. It's just a matter of having the mindset that I'm going to overcome them. And in a lot of cases, it's having the tools and the ability to do so.
Okay. And the fact that you kind of did it once already, so you already been kind of down that path before, you just had to go back and say, okay, this is what I did the first time. Now I could just do that all over again. So basically, any entrepreneur that has a business going somewhere, then they decide they need to go do something else. And it's business that's actually, where in your case, it wasn't something that was online. It was something that you physically were doing, where like almost like a brick and mortar kind of business.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one of the greatest things about my business is that I'm mobile. The fact that I don't have brick and mortar is something that's always been a choice that I made in the beginning. I didn't want to have a specific place that I had to convince everyone to get to. I love having the I'll bring the party to you business model, because then I can go wherever I need it, and I don't have to worry about opening doors and walking at the end of the day. I have the freedom to, every day is a different adventure. Every day I know I'm in a different place and with different people and different settings. And for someone like me, it's not necessarily, I'm not as motivated having one specific place to go to every single day. I love the adventure of it. I love the freedom of being able to drive from one place to the other and show up somewhere and do what I do and have that impact and then move on and do it somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. It really is a bonus for someone like me, for my business model to be that way.
And let me ask you this, because this is actually the first time I've asked people this on the show before. What is your next step? What is your desire to do over the next 12 months, 12 to 24 months for you?
I love that question. I love that question. That question actually gets me super excited. Remember how I told you, this is STARcise is me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm it. There's no like, Santa's got elves. He's got a whole army of people that help him do what he does. I have none of that. My goal for 2018 is to be able to take my business and build it so that I have an entire army of STARcise coaches. So that I want to, my business goal, because up to this point, Coach Maxine has always been synonymous with STARcise. My face has always been synonymous with STARcise. I'm very much aware that because I'm physically, not just the face, but physically the face and the mascot of STARcise, that I can only do this for so long. If it's just me that's doing it, then it's going to end with me. So I'm, 2018 for me, for my business, the goal is to pull back the Coach Maxine aspect of it and build up the STARcise coaches. My goal is to have an army of STARcise coaches all over the country. And to that effect, I've actually been developing a curriculum and a format to train in person and to train virtually and to license, my curriculum and my program and all of what I've been doing on my own and make it possible. Because here's the thing, as much as I love to think that I'm an original and I'm one of a kind and I'm unique and I'm the one that, puts all, I put 200, 300, 1,000% of myself out there, and that's what makes STARcise so great. The truth is, I know that there are moms, young women, educators, people who love preschoolers and love, being, to be honest, wearing yoga pants and sneakers, rolling around on the floor all day on carpet with 3-year-olds. I'm not the only one. So I know that there are people that have the personality, that have the desire, that have interest in, that have the ability to take my message that fitness is fun to more children. And as much as I love the virtual aspect of it, I love the music, I love the videos, I love, the virtual package that I've created, I really want there to be more person-to-person interaction. There has to be balance. I know we live in a social media world. I know we live in a smartphone world and children are learning devices as young as 8 and 9 months old. This is the reality of the world that we live in. It's not going to go away. And I'm not looking for it to go away. I'm just trying to create a balance where we don't lose the person-to-person interaction altogether just yet. And I know that preschool directors are that front line of people that are still having face-to-face contact with young kids. So my goal really for 2018 is to continue building what I've been working on and actually execute and actually start training and developing STARcise coaches on their own to take this program and actually reach and impact and touch the lives of more children, not just for the kids' sake, but for what I know it's going to do for those people that choose to become STARcise coaches.
Well, and the thing is, you started off by being in part of somebody else's program, so the model works. You just have to have your own model. And you can possibly even use some of the examples of what you did 10, 11 years ago when you're working for the other company. Like, okay, what are the little nuts and bolts that they did? And that way you have that as almost as a template to build your business.
Absolutely. One of the things that and you're so right. One of the things that's really been on my mind as I've been developing the program to train coaches is what's been on my mind a lot was what it was like for me to be that coach when I worked for the other company. And, I've taken there's so many things I love about the company that I work for in terms of what I got out of it as a coach, as an employee, that I want to be able to bring to this next phase of my business as I'm growing and building it. But at the same time, there are things that I want to make sure that I do differently and that I do better. And that's, you're right, it really has been on the forefront of my mind because of the experience that I had. Not just because, this is something that I built, I want to make a bunch of little Coach Maxine robots. No, not at all. I want to make this, my goal is to make this something where, like I said, the children get a lot out of it, but the people that choose to become STARcise coaches are getting something out of it as well. So that's going to be, it has really been on my mind a lot.
Okay. Well, we're going to be wrapping up here in a moment. Are there any last little tidbits of information to people that are out there that are coaches that are maybe similar as you, that are looking to grow their business? Maybe they're looking to create a certification program so they can so they can expand themselves. Any tidbits of information that you would give to an entrepreneur on this?
The biggest piece of advice, and I say this a lot, is to find your support system and your support group outside of your family, outside of your friends. I mean, other business people, other entrepreneurs. Find your group find a group of entrepreneurs who've either been through what you're going through or are going through it currently. Because there is nothing like I love that so much. The greatest thing for me as an entrepreneur, because when you're on your own like I am, you go through ups and downs that your spouse, your parents, your friends can't necessarily relate to. And because they know you personally, maybe they're not giving you the answers you want to hear. They're not the ear that you want to listen. But when you talk to someone who's been through it, they can relate to you and build you up, and you can hear what they're going through, and they can hear what you're going through, and really support each other. That is so key when you're going through something and you just want to absolutely, when you have like the worst day ever and you want to give up, to be able to connect to someone who knows what you're going through, to have that support from someone who says, I've had a bad day too, and my day was actually worse than yours, and this is how it was, this is how I got through it, and you can get through it too. To have that support system to really build you up is key. I don't care if you find it through a mastermind. I don't care if you find it through an online group. I don't care if you find it through an actual networking group where you physically meet with each other once a week, once a month, whatever it is. I would say as equally as important as building up your own business is building up your business relationships outside of your business. But I mean, friendships and relationships with people that are having the same experience as you. One thing I would also, maybe somewhere I would start, I love STAR, their business mentorship program. Find a business mentor. If you can't find a group of like minds, find someone, go out of your way, look for it, Google it, search it, ask for, recommendations, put yourself out there and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and start with, STAR. Find someone who is actively looking to mentor people. Find a mentor. Find someone in the business community that you can relate to, someone that you enjoy speaking with, and vice versa, and get that support. It is so important. You may not get anything from that sort of relationship that specifically speaks how to build your business, but you will get something out of it to build yourself as a business person and as an entrepreneur. You need that in the beginning, and you may always need it, because here I am 11 years later. I have business mentors, and I have business relationships, and I have friendships with a community of entrepreneurs that is just key for me, even if it's just for the feedback or just to hear what they're going through and say, yeah, this is to be able to relate to what someone else is going through. To not feel alone is huge. It will give you the ability and the boost to move forward on days when you don't think you got it.
And I fully agree with you. There's a saying that you are the average of your 5 closest friends. And I fully agree that, that's one of the things for this show, this Life's Little Lessons show, is exactly what you're talking about. Is I'm interviewing people at different levels of business so that the listener, the viewer, can actually they can actually get some indirect mentorship from the actual show itself. That's why I crafted the show the way I do. Is exactly for that reason. And I fully agree with you to have relationships with other people that are also business owners. Because, yes, an employee-minded person is not going to understand what you're going through. And as an example, I've said this for years now. Yeah, I'm looking for somebody to date or want, to have a relationship with. And I'm having a hard time in my business. If the first words out of her mouth is, once you go get a job, that's not the right person for me. It's like, if the words out of her mouth is, how else can you expand your business to incorporate more, to get more clients? Okay, that's the person I want to be with. So it's the whole mindset shift that you need to be associated with. So yes, you should have different business people that you are friends with, that you have that regular coffee with, or having communications with, or as you say, going to school, or like myself, I'm a business coach, or I call myself an entrepreneur strategist. You hire a coach, or you hire somebody, or you have a mentor to help you through your times, regardless how many years you've been in business. Like you said, you've been in business for 11 years, and you still look for that, because you as long as you realize that you are never that you never stop growing, then you always keep yourself open-minded to new things. So, Coach Maxine, I'm calling by your official name. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, either for the birthday parties or possibly they want to get you into their preschool or something like that, how is it that they can get a hold of you? Do you have a website that they can go to be able to contact you?
I do. Everyone can get a hold of me primarily through STARcise.com. That's STARCISE.com. I'm also very prevalent on social media, Facebook.com/STARcise, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, anyone who wants to get a hold of me directly, Maxine@STARcise.com is my email.
Maxine@STARcise.com. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for the time that you've been on the show here. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show, and you are such a wonderful, phenomenal person to begin with. I'm glad that the people on Facebook or our mutual friend said that you should be on our show, because we just started talking about 2-3 days ago. Actually, you were recommended to my show about 2 or 3 days ago. We started talking yesterday, I believe, but now you're on the show here. So, so I want to say thank you for being on the show. It's been a great pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much, Kevin. This has been the most fun I've had all week.
And that says a lot, because today is Friday, so you know. Yes. And also, thank you very much, and I will have everybody come talk to you online. For those of you that are looking for different shows and stuff like that, this will be on our website. And I do ask you, you can find us on iTunes, you can find us on Podbean, Facebook, LinkedIn, even on YouTube. Go ahead and leave a comment on what you thought about the show, and I would be greatly appreciative for that. And give a 5-star rating on iTunes. That would be also phenomenal. And again, Maxine, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Kevin. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.